Hello and welcome to Bible Study with Alice, and today we're on day 82, Psalm 82 of our daily Psalm reading. We're reading from the ESV translation, but you're more than welcome to join us from a different translation. As you can see, we are on Psalm 82. These videos are filmed in real time. Today's date is the 24th of January 25 and it's a Friday. There is a disclaimer as usual, and that is one of these videos are unedited and also are probably done by my wording. Let's get started. Rescue the wicked and needy, a psalm of Asper. God has taken his place in the divine council. In the midst of the guard, he holds judgment. How long will you judge unjustly and show partially to the wicked? Salam. Give justice to the weak and the fatherless. Maintain the right of the afflicted and the destitute. Rescue the weak and the needy, deliver them from the hand of the wicked. They have neither knowledge or understanding, they walk in the darkness, all the foundations of the earth are shaken. I said, you are God, Son of the Most High, all you nevertheless like men, you shall die and fall like any prince. Arise, O God, judge the earth, for you shall inherit all the nations. So, that is Psalm 82 complete. Tomorrow we'll be doing Psalm 83. So that's the first half of the video complete. The second half we will talk about the psalm and the time period it was written in. Just before we get into that little bit, I want to explain the dates and that sort of thing first. So the psalms are kind of, I would say, split into three. Two linked together, one don't. So the one that don't link together are psalms that have a time period, and scholars and historians know when that psalm was written. But then you've got the psalms that are unknown, but they have an event linked, and that's due to the fact that historians and scholars don't know when the psalm was written, but because there's an event that links to it, they know that that psalm would have been written during that particular event or leading up to that event. There are a few psalms, not many to be honest, where there is no time period, no link, no event, nothing. It's literally just unknown, and that's due to the fact that historians and scholars don't know when that song was written, that there's no event linked to it, so they don't know why it was written or when it was written or anything. They just know that that particular psalm was written. And as I said, there's not many of those psalms, but they are there. So I wanted to explain that briefly before. So with Psalm 82, it was written around 500 BC. It's a poetic drama in which God calls for the corrupt judges for their injustice and condemns them. Now with that in particular, we could relate this into our own life, into modern day life, and there's been countless times when there's been judgment on somebody for something that they had done and they hadn't done it, but the judges believe that that person's done it and been a bit corrupt and were like, yeah, that person's done it, that person's, done that crime, they've done it and that is it, no more said about it. But then that person is being locked up in jail for however many years that they're in jail for, knowing that they've not committed that crime and trying to prove their justice, trying to prove that they haven't done it, and because of those corrupt judges, that they then happen to go up against that. But lucky enough, I say lucky enough, I don't know if anything's ever lucky having that, but God condemned that. He did not want his people being locked up for a crime that they supposed to have committed but hadn't committed, because they hadn't. But the judges are like, oh yeah, they've done it. And sometimes it could be the police. The police can't seem to find a person who's committed that crime, and instead of leaving it cold, as a cold case, they will put their finger on somebody just because somebody just happens to look a bit unusual in the eyes of the police, and they'll get, punished for something they hadn't done. But God will condemn those people for that, and it is a miscarriage of justice at the end of the day. That person had that crime committed, or had that put against them, and hadn't done it. And God will, obviously at the end of the day, will pay that judge the price. He will condemn them for it. At the end of the day, he will give that final judgment to that judge for allowing that person to be punished for something they hadn't done. And also, Psalm 82 is considered to be the most profound text in the Bible. So we're not talking about Book of Psalms. We talk about the whole of the Bible, from Genesis to Revelations. Psalm 82 is considered to be the profound text, the most profound one. And it is due to the fact that it calls out on those corruptions, calls out on people who are being punished for crimes that they haven't committed. And at the end of the day, it still happens. We live in a time when, people will be punished for something they haven't done, will be accused of things they haven't done. I mean, I don't really want to talk about it because I've been told not to talk about it, but I'm not going to be naming names, so that's okay, as long as I don't name names. And the person that is actually about don't really read the Bible, so they won't be looking for a Bible study video and watching me. So that's why it's okay, unless, as I said, I'm not actually naming names. But there's a person that I know. Now, how close that person is to me is irrelevant. But there's a person that I know. Their relative, family member, died last year. And their family is grieving for that other relative. And they have decided to blame my friend's friend for that person's death. Now, that person hasn't committed any crime. They've not been arrested. There's no evidence to even suggest that that person has even done anything. And also, that friend, my friend, that is, has never said to anybody, oh, this other friend has caused that relative's death. So as it's not, there's no evidence to suggest it, but people can still be a bit, upset, corrupt about it all, and try to find ways to upset other people. And at the end of it, God knows what happened that day when that person died, knows that it wasn't the intention of that person that's been accused. And God is the one that is, keeping that person safe from harm, because they haven't done nothing wrong. Now, as I said, when we say corruption, it doesn't have to be corruption on a judge's part, it could be corruption on a family member's part, because that person's just so angry and so annoyed that that person's supposed to have done something they hadn't done. And they will do everything they can to try and make that person's life a bit miserable. But as I said, the police don't think that person's done anything wrong, or if they do think that person's done anything wrong, they've not been arrested, which goes to show that the police wouldn't be doing their job properly. They wouldn't let somebody just walk around, you know, and held responsible for something they haven't done. But, you know, as I mean, like, these psalms can relate to our life. You can just read it and be like, I can relate to that psalm. That's what I love about the psalms. I have to admit, I love that about the Bible in general, that you can actually come across a scripture in the Bible and relate to it and be like, I know that about that. I've experienced that. I've had that happen to me in my life. Oh my gosh, I can actually relate to something in the Bible. That's because God has intended for that scripture to be there. He has intended for you to find that scripture. That's the power and that's the beauty of the scriptures. And even with this particular scripture being the most profound one, He's intended for us to have that in the Bible. He's intended for us to read it and to interpret that into our own lives. Government, for example. Government can be corrupt, depending on how you see it as. In the UK, there's been plenty of miscarriages of justice. I mean, I don't even have to name them. You can just Google it if you need to. But there have been so many miscarriages of justice. And judges are like, oh, actually, I'm going to be on the person that is accusing that of the person of doing the crime. And that person will be punished and will be having to face the full the law of the United Kingdom. And they will be like, yeah, that person will have to suffer those consequences. But actual fact, that judge eventually will be held responsible and will be held accountable for allowing that to happen and being corrupt for it. So that is Psalm 82 complete. I will now write in the den the date. As I say to everybody, I am left-handed, so it's not as easy as it looks. Being left-handed is never easy as it looks. 24/1/25. So that is Psalm 82 complete, as you can see. And tomorrow we will be doing 83, which is quite another short one. I quite like the shorter ones because it's easier to say, but then you can come across words that you still can't pronounce. But yeah, anyway, thank you for watching. Please like my content, please subscribe to my channel, I'd really appreciate it if you could. And please turn on the notification bell to get updates of videos that get uploaded to the channel. So if you turn on the notification bell, you get notified of videos like this coming up onto YouTube. Thank you and goodbye.